All right, I think everybody here knows that this is pretty much like our Bible, if I dare say so. It's on the four samayas, the four great Dzogchen samayas, and basically your mind is just like the sun is warm and it's luminous, and you can talk about it like that. We can talk about the mind as being ineffable, purely spacious, and holistic. Okay, purely present, we can say too. So spacious, open, purely present, and completely one. So there'll be nothing in your experience that's outside of your mind. Right? Everything that's ever happened to you has always been within your mind. And in that way, it's all encompassing, all sights, sounds, etc. right now. For you to interact with them, for them to be in your life, mind has to be there. So in that way, we can consider oneness. But we're going to go through the first theme of ineffability first, all right? And then this introduction even before that. So let's get back to it. I don't know if recording, maybe we'll record these. Why not? Why not, right? Nitty said to do it. We're going to do it. All right, so here's the introduction by Tulku Tunda Rinpoche. It says the precious treasury of the way of abiding, with its auto commentary, is one of the 7 treasuries by Kunchen Longchen Rabjam. Kunchen, excuse me. Kunchen Longchen Rabjam. Born in 1308 and passed in 1363. Longchen Rabjam was one of the greatest masters and most prolific writers of the Nyima school of Tibetan Buddhism. This text entails the approach to the discipline of ethics of Dzogchenpo, the great perfection. The discipline of ethics may be a misunderstanding, but one second. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, of course they're gonna start barking too. Today has just been pretty busy in the minds of the animals. So let's see what this is. A biographical sketch of Longchen Rabjam. Longchen Rabjam was born in the Tra Valley of southern Tibet on the 10th day of the second month of the Earth Monkey year, 1308. When he was conceived, his mother dreamed of a sun above a lion's head, illuminating the whole world. At his birth, a Dharma protectress appeared and, holding the baby in her arms, said, "I will protect him." Longchen Rabjam was a reincarnation of Princess Pema Tsao, 9th century, whom Guru Rinpoche had entrusted with the transmission of the Khandro Nyingtik teachings. The princess took rebirth several centuries later as Pema Ledrol Tsao, and it's guessing that 1291 to some other date. And it says who discovered the Khandro Nyingtik as Terma, hidden treasure teachings, and who in turn was reborn as Longchen Rabjam. So to me, that really shows the egalitarian nature of Tibetan Buddhism. They have always praised the females, and there is a lot of equal ground there between the males and females. But I also want to say, this shows that within us we can be male and female. We can have these energies, right? I think it's a little bit interesting. But anyway, we also have to consider the environment here. Like up there in the same region in Tibet, they've just had this constant cycling of Dharma. The Dharma was in the air. The yogis were in the air. The scriptures were hidden physically and psychically, and we have these rediscoveries happening from the time that it started to come there. I'd say, obviously, I posit that it was there around Buddha Shakyamuni's time, but from the 6th century onwards, where it really started to migrate into Tibet from northeastern India, you just see this like wave, like almost if you look at what's invisible, can we see what's invisible during this time? And you would just see these, beings just coming back as tokus and rediscovering scriptures and representing them in all kinds of ways. So I don't know what I'm trying to say exactly. It may be a little bit abstract, but I feel like the tone, the vibe in this particular time was just, just like now, the whole culture is like, oh, Justin Bieber, everybody Justin Bieber. Well, then it was Milarepa, Longchenpa, and a whole different vibe. So it's something interesting to consider, in my opinion. So anyway, it says, from childhood, Longchen Rabjam was endowed with the qualities of a noble being, faith, compassion, and wisdom. At the age of 5, he could read and write with no difficulty. At 7, he was trained in medicine and astrology by his father and received esoteric transmissions from him as well. At 12, Longchen Rabjam took the ordination of a novice monk from Khenpo's son Rinpoche at Samye Monastery and was given the name Tsoltrim Lodro. And Samye was the first monastery, right, in Tibet? And it says, at 19, he went to the famous Sanghu Nehang monastic seminary, where he studied Buddhist philosophy, logic, and meditation for 6 years with Lopan Sengompa, Chopao Gyaltsen, and others. Wow, there's so many things happening today in this session. Excuse me. Come on. All right, yeah. I hope you guys, this karma gets burnt off, because there's a lot of interrupting. Jeez, go sit. The succession of interruptions is unfathomable. Okay, so he studied texts and received transmission of sutras and tantras from more than 20 teachers. See, everybody, it's okay to have more than one teacher. Because of his gift for scholarship, he became renowned as Samye Longmangwa, right? Longmangwa, master of scriptures from Samye, and Longchen Rabjam, master of infinite realization. At 27, what a Dharma life. Let's just, say that for a second. I mean, he was really put in there, wasn't he? But look, he had this other name, Samye Lung Mangwa. I think it could be Nangwa too, with an N. But Lung is obviously the transmission, the wisdom mind, the air. So Lung Mangwa, Samye Lung Mangwa, master of scriptures from Samye. So he actually had two names that seemed equally important. So at 27, he met Ringzin Kamaradza, that's his main teacher, who was born in 1266 and passed in 1343. See, that's why he probably had more than one teacher too. Some of them were passing, right, during his lifetime. So the holder of the Vimanintic teachings in the highlands of Yarto Kyam Valley, He studied with Rinzin Kumaradza for 2 years, receiving instructions on all 3 divisions of Dzogpa Chenpo. So that would be the Semde, Longde, and Mengagde. And then it says, but the main emphasis of his studies was the text of the 4 cycles of the Mengagde division, namely the outer, inner, and secret, and innermost secret cycles. Here, Richard Barron said esoteric. The common language is secret, but esoteric probably fits better, actually, than secret. So outer, inner, and esoteric. But then why wouldn't you say exoteric? But anyway, okay, no problem. So he received the Mengagde, the full cycle of the Mengagde, the pith instruction class of Dzogchen, of course. So while he was studying with Rigzen Kumaradza, Longchen Rabjam lived under extremely austere conditions. To combat attachment to the material world, Rigzen Kumaradza moved from place to place, never settling anywhere for long. In 9 months, he and his disciples moved camp 9 times, causing great hardship for Longchen Rabjam and everyone else. I'm loving the 9s. No sooner would he get used to a simple life in some temporary shelter, usually a cave, that protected him from the snow and freezing wind, then he would have to move again. There's a typo there, but that's okay. He subsisted on very little food and slept only on a sack, which served as both his mattress and blanket. He was under such hardship that he received transmission of the most rare and precious tantras and instructions of the 3 divisions of Dzogchen. It was under such hardship that he received these transmissions. You know, I feel like I can relate to that a little bit. I wonder if he had a rattlesnake problem. So it says, at the end of 2 years, Rigzen Kumaradza empowered Longchen Rabjam as the lineage holder of his teachings. Then, for the next 6 or 7 years, Longchenpa maintained strict solitary meditation retreats, mainly at Samye Chimpu. At 32, while still in retreat, he conferred the transmission of the Vimanintik on his disciples at Nyipu Shuksep in Kangri Tokor. For some time the surroundings became luminous. Everyone heard mystical sounds and experienced pure visions. I told you, it must have been a party, huh? Must have been a good time. Soon the yogin Ozar Kucha and the Dharma protectress Shimpa Sogdruma offered him the text of the Khandro Nintik, discovered as a terma by Pema Lendrosal. Although Longchenpa was the reincarnation of the discoverer of the Khandro Nintik, in order to demonstrate the importance of preserving the transmission for future followers, he went to Sho Gyaltse, a disciple of Pema Ledro Tsal, from whom he received the transmission of the Khandro Nintik. You see, so he is Pema Ledro Tsal, but getting the transmission from the unbroken transmission that's been here in the collective as well, right? And that's why I was saying it's this kind of this cloud, this breathing, pulsating cloud of Dharma that they've had going over there. Amazing, just amazing stuff. So at 33, he gave the Khandro Nintik teachings to 8 male and female disciples at Samye Chimpu. And by the way, Khandro means female Buddha. So the whole lineage is sort of female. So related perhaps Dharmakaya, Tara, the Tathagata Karpa. And, I would say this is what I've always related to the most out of all the Nintiks, the Khandro Nintik. And you also have the bellowing laugh of the Dakini and other practices that can be associated. So it says, a rain of flowers showered down. Arcs, beams, and spheres of colored light were seen everywhere. All those assembled sang and danced amid the overwhelming experience of the display of wisdom. You see, I told you all, I was trying to describe this from the very beginning that it was one big Dharma party. We can revive this, okay? We're gonna have a Dharma rave soon, everybody. We're gonna invite everybody from meditation online. We're gonna have the old school Tibetan horns and drums and stuff, and we're gonna have a big old lots of chanting, yoga and stuff. Watch, and we're gonna have a retreat here too in Taos and probably other places. Yep, we're gonna party like this. This is the way it's done right here. I'm telling you. All right, Rongchen, you on board? I already made it in 3D years ago, and I got the blessing from the Kempo and everything, so I think it can happen. All right, so it says, for a long time the disciples were absorbed in an experience of deep luminous clarity, which transcends sleep and waking reality. Oh, Time, I hope you're still here. That's kind of what we were touching on earlier. And it says, at this, Longchenpa sang, "Oh, yogins, I am happy and joyous. Tonight we are the unexcelled Pure Land. Our body is the palace of peaceful and wrathful deities. In it prospers the assembly of Buddhas, the union of clarity and emptiness. Buddhahood is not somewhere else, but within us." Ah, how beautiful. Man, imagine what that song would have sounded like. Maybe he was doing like a little TikTok dance too while he was singing. All right. Okay, everybody. How much more do we have on his little bio here? Yeah, we got some more juicy stuff. We're gonna have to pick it back up next time. Yep, we'll pick it back up next time. Hopefully, you can find a bookmarker there. This text is pretty awesome, right? I don't think we went through this part together last time, so that's fun. And I mean, he's just sitting there like, grooving and singing about emptiness and clarity. Come on, we'll bring it back. It seems to have gotten so sullen in some places, right? A little too sullen, maybe too dry. All right. We'll hydrate it. We'll rehydrate it. Okay, well, both texts, I think we had a great introduction to both new texts that we're going to be exploring. Buddhahood Without Meditation in the previous session, and The Way of Abiding here, as well as the basic space of phenomena, right? Dorje Laipa's going through. So we're going through two of the treasuries, which is always nice. It's pretty awesome. And they actually sync up pretty well. And I wouldn't be surprised if we had some crazy synchronicities going on as we go through these. So I think it's a great treat. There's one exploration of this text online, and I don't even know how many times it's been explored in a sangha. I think that's rare to explore a treasury like this together, and it's amazing.